Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sunshine Coast Regional District regular board meeting for Thursday, March 26th, 2026. It's 1 p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is located on the territories of the Shishak and Squamish Nations. Directors, we do have an agenda in front of us. It has been amended to make a correction as part of the EAS recommendations. And are there any other changes to the agenda? If not, I would look for a motion to adopt. Thank you. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. That's carried. All right, first up, we're going to look at the regular board meeting minutes of February 26th, 2026, starting on page 4. Directors, are there any errors or omissions before we move to adopt? If not, may I have a motion to adopt, please? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? Seeing nobody jumping for a microphone, I think we will move on. We have no presentations or delegations today, so we'll move straight into reports. Item 6.1 on page 14 of the agenda package, Committee of the Whole meeting recommendations 2, 3, and 6 through 12 of February 26, 2026. Recommendations 1, 4, and 5 were previously adopted. Directors, are there any of those that you want to pull for separate consideration before we move to endorse the block? If not, may I have a motion to endorse the block, please? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Next up, item 6.2 on page 19, Committee of the Whole meeting recommendations 1 and 2 of March 19th, 2026. Do directors want to pull anything from that for further discussion? If not, a motion to endorse the pair of recommendations, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Item 6.3, Electoral Area Services Committee meeting recommendations 1 through 14 of March 19th, 2026, starting on page 21 of the agenda package. Directors, do you want to pull any of them for separate consideration? I don't see anybody reaching for a microphone. So can I have a motion to endorse the block? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you for coming out and thank you for your advocacy on this issue. Next up, we have item 6.4, which is placement of notice on title. This is on page 27. And so we will invite our chief building official to introduce this.
Thank you and good afternoon. Section 57 of the Community Charter authorizes the board to direct the corporate officer to register a notice on title where a building contravenes a regional district bylaw. This notice is intended to encourage compliance and provides disclosure to prospective purchasers and other interested parties. It is not punitive and may be discharged once compliance is achieved. Today's report outlines the information and presents recommendations related to 2 properties. Staff have not been advised of anyone intending to speak to these matters and are available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. We will look at these one at a time. So we'll start with the first one, which is 9305 Stevens Way, Electoral Area B. Is there anybody online wishing to speak to this? No, there is not. Okay, directors, any questions? Director Gabius.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me, and I just wanted to move the recommendation number 1 on page 27.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? I do, thank you. Director McMahon?
Thanks. It's noted in here that the property is currently for sale. Is there a legal requirement for the owner to disclose notice on title to, or how does that work? If there's issues with the property, who is supposed to disclose to who?
Cannot, I'd only be speculating on the real estate procedure for disclosure. However, normally when the property does transfer title, that's when it's discovered that there is a notice there. And from there, we typically get the request as to why it's there, because it just simply says to contact the SUID. So in terms of disclosure requirements for realtors or property owners, I prefer not to comment.
I would hope that it would be part of standard due diligence on the part of a prospective buyer or their agent through the land title office. I mean, anybody can actually purchase to pull title on any property on the province at any time. So it's not like it's a closely guarded secret or anything like that, right? Any other discussion on the motion? If not, I will call the question. This is voting all directors. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. All right, so looking at number 2, 1616 Mount Artibon Road, electoral area F. Is there anybody online wishing to speak to this?
Nobody online, Chair.
Thank you. Directors, any questions, comments? Director Stanford?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move recommendation number 2 as presented on page 3 of the package, of
Thank
that
you.
particular package.
Page 27 of the PDF file.
Right.
And I've got a seconder. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? I will call the question. Voting all directors. All those in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Director McMahon?
Do we need, it says XX days? Like how, sorry, I didn't read this option closely, but it says a given time frame. Do we have to specify a time frame here in order to make the motion make sense?
If we'd gone with option 2, yes. But
I
we
thought-
went with the recommendations that are presented on page 27.
I'm sorry, I thought Director Stanford moved option 2.
Sorry, I meant it was item 2, I should have said.
Item 2. All right. Now I know what I voted on. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Director McMahon, for voicing your confusion, and thank you, Director Stanford, for clarifying. Yeah, you did say page 3. Yeah, anyways, we are moving forward. Next up, we have item 6.5. This is starting on page 32 of our agenda package. This is Building Permit Hub, Terms of Use Agreement. Is there anything you wanted to highlight with this, or?
I have a brief introduction, if you'd like. The Permit Hub is a voluntary provincial platform intended to standardize and streamline digital building permit applications. Staff have been monitoring its development and are investigating potential benefits for operations. Testing and evaluation of the software are subject to entering into terms of use agreement. The agreement does not commit to full platform adoption. It simply confirms acceptance of the terms and enables staff to use it and proceed with assessing suitability. Staff are recommending entering into the agreement to allow staff to proceed.
Thank you. This looks like good news, I think, if we're getting involved in a standardized provincial platform. Just before I go to directors, the question that I've got is this a platform, and maybe this is speculation, so yeah. Is the province intending for this to be a platform that all local governments use, or is this really being iterated as an optional opportunity for a local government to, save a little bit of process?
Thank you for the question. It is intended to create a standardized tool at no cost to local governments. There is no current mandate to use it. So there are several jurisdictions who have established systems that may not choose to proceed with it, but the intention, from our understanding, is to try to make steps to harmonize digital permit applications and provide the resources to local governments.
Thank you. District of Seashelt at least uses Cloud Permit, which was I think it's a private software vendor option. So this will be interesting to see how this works out for the regional district, and I think Town of Gibson's uses Cloud Permit as well, because I think we got the idea from you guys, so it'll be great to someday reach a point where we can harmonize all three local governments onto one platform. Director McMahon?
Yes, actually, that is a really good question, is whether staff will be evaluating the possibility of having all local governments aligned. But I heard the magic words, no cost, at no cost. That's what sold me.
Thank you, Director McMahon. Director Bax?
Yeah, my question is this a tool for staff alone, or is it a public tool that could be used by members of the public?
The tool would be used by staff and the public alike. It would allow individual property owners or other stakeholders to submit their applications directly through an online portal on the cloud, and then staff would then download it from there and process it accordingly.
Follow-up?
Yeah, is this similar to, I understand that in Vancouver recently, someone created plans for a building using Minecraft as a platform. Is this a similar, is this kind of the place where that could happen?
No, this is not a Minecraft mod. Thank you, Director Bax. But as an example, Director Bax, if you do go look at the District of Seashelt Building Application Portal, it is entirely an online tool, like we're using Cloud Permit in the District of Seashelt. And so you can submit your drawings, and then your architect can log in and submit his approval letter, and your engineer can log in and submit their approvals. Like, you don't have to, it pulls it all together as one package, and everything I can find indicates that that's sort of the intention with this provincial permit hub as well. So it makes it easier, hopefully less confusion for people that come in that maybe have an incomplete package, right? So is there any other questions, or would somebody like to make, go ahead, Director DeAndrade.
Thank you. I don't know if Gibson's is using, I'm aware that they are going to AI as much as they can, but I don't know yet. My question is, because the report talks about that future development is expected to include additional housing types. So I was wondering, what kind of housing right now? Is it something simple? It regards a small footprint? Because sometimes you also have in rural areas like big houses. What it is really about the type of housing?
Thanks for the question. A little outside the scope of the terms of acceptance here, but I don't know, Mr. Kennedy, if you wanted to answer that.
From the demonstrations that staff have seen, or at least the implementation plan, it is intended primarily to be rolled out for small housing to support provincial policy. From there, they will move into more multi-use buildings or complex buildings, but the initial push is to try to make the housing targets more efficient.
Great, thank you. Director Bax?
I don't think we have a motion on the table, do we?
Not yet.
I'd like to move the recommendations as they appear on page 32.
Thank you, Director Bax, and I've got a number of seconders for that. So is there any further discussion now that we have a motion on the floor? If not, this is voting all directors. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Thank you, Mr. Kennett. And next up, we have item 6.6 on page 34. Solid Waste Environmental Monitoring Contract Award. And I'll turn this over to Manager Soul.
Thank you. So this report seeks board approval to award a contract for environmental monitoring services at Seashelt Landfill and closed Pender Harbor Landfill. These activities, including groundwater, surface water, and landfill gas monitoring, are required to ensure compliance with provincial regulations. Following a competitive request for proposal process, Pottinger Gagherty Environmental Consultants Limited was identified as the successful proponent. The recommended contract fits within the approved budget and is structured to leave sufficient remaining funds for any additional technical analysis required under the Seashell Landfill Operating Certificate. These remaining funds are important to support additional analyses that must be done by a qualified professional. Staff are available to answer any questions the board may have.
Great. Thank you very much. Directors, any questions? Director McMahon?
Yes, this seems quite straightforward, but are we responsible for also monitoring the closed Gibson's landfill? And if not us, who?
Thank you. Yes, we are, as well as the closed Half Moon Bay landfill as well. However, under the closure plans of both those facilities, all that's required is a visual inspection of the site every year. We've long since passed the point where we need to do any sort of actual environmental monitoring at those facilities, and they're basically just observe and monitor for perpetuity.
Okay, thank you. Directors, any other questions? Looking at the chart on the bottom of page 36, I think this is a excellent good news story that we've actually got a contract award that's well under the budget that's been approved. Director McMahon?
Yes, I'd like to move the recommendations on page 35.
Thank you, and I've got a seconder for that. Any discussion on the motion? If not, this is all directors as a weighted vote. I will call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. All right, and item 6.7, request for exemption from enforcement of noise control bylaw number 597 for BC ferries. This is on page 38. I think the report speaks for itself, but our manager of legislative services is here if we've got any questions. And so directors, Director Stamford.
We seem to see this every year at about this time, but it still would be nice if they gave more rather than less notice for the residents to be prepared, because the sound does really travel. Yeah, we have to keep our terminal going, so I would like to put the motion on from the recommendations as presented on page 38.
Thank you very much. And I've 39.
39?
Thank you, Director
I'm on
McMahon.
I'm on eScribe, so.
Okay, yeah, page 39.
Yeah.
Okay, and I saw a seconder for that. Thank you.
Boo.
Thanks, Director Inkster. Is there any discussion on this? This is electoral area directors only. I don't see any hands. I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of reports. We have no communications. We do have motions. Item 8.1, I'll turn it over to Director Gabius to introduce. Director Paul is leaving the meeting for this particular one. So I'll turn it over to you to introduce.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm hoping everybody had a chance to read the motion and to look into watershed boards a little bit. This is a motion to send a late resolution to AVICC. Whether or not it meets the threshold for a late resolution, we'll find out, but we thought it'd be good to try. I'm just going to start by stating the obvious that water is a very precious resource. It is life. And for a long time, I think we've taken it for granted because of its abundance, especially here on the Sunshine Coast. But we're now facing increasing water scarcity, and that's affecting our ecosystems, our food systems, our health, our economic development, and our pocketbooks as well. But bottom line is that when it comes to water and watersheds, like for a lot of other complex issues, the status quo is just not cutting it anymore. This siloed approach, I think, needs to change because we're facing population growth, there's reconciliation underway, there's climate change as well, and so the ground is shifting, and I think we need to develop new ways to make decisions on how we share and steward the watersheds that we live on. And to me, collaboration is key. So the ask is for the province to provide a framework for watershed boards and also stable funding so that they can be permanent. I've got lots more information, but I don't know how many questions. I don't want to take too much time, but if there's any comments or questions on this, happy to address.
So are you formally making that motion?
Yes, I guess I should do that. I am making that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for it? I do have a seconder. Thank you. Any questions or discussion on the motion from my directors? Director D'Andrade?
Thank you. I was really pleased to see this motion. Gibson's had a meeting with the Minister of Environment recently, and I even asked about drinking water as a value to be part of the question, and they didn't even have this. So I think it's very important because even though we have talked to the ministry for many, many, many years regarding watershed security, the pace is really slow. And so this hopefully would advance. And the conversation now, it's pretty much government, provincial government to First Nations government. And we seem like sometimes they brief us, but it's not really necessarily a good inclusion. So yeah, I fully support that.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? If not, this is going to be voting all directors. I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, that's unanimous. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to item 8.2. Which is a motion regarding further appointments to Area F, West House Sound APC. Director Stamford, did you want to make the motion here? Okay, you're going to make the motion as presented on our agenda cover?
That's what I'm going to do. Thank you.
Thank you
Making the
very much.
motion.
I think it's fairly straightforward what's being asked here, so, and I've got a couple of seconders for it. Would anybody like to debate this motion?
Can I just
Yeah, you can
Introduce it.
debate yourself, sure.
not debating. Just an explanation that when we put this notice out in December, it's often busy. We don't always get back to the APC members. So these people are very effective APC members. They wanted to come back and they just missed the window. So I'm hoping they can be considered.
Okay, thank you. And I don't see any other hands up, so I will call the question. Again, all directors. All those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. And finally, in motions, we have item 8.3, which is a motion regarding resignations from the Sunshine Coast Accessibility Advisory Commission. And we've got two folks here that have resigned, and so this would be a motion to accept those resignations and that messages of recognition be sent to the outgoing members. So I will move that, and I've got a seconder here. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Just a big thanks to both these members and to the remaining members too, but their contribution was incredibly valuable and want to thank them very much.
Great, thank you. I will call the question. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, we have no bylaws, but we do have directors' reports. And it has been over a month since our last director's report. And Director McMahon really wanted me to warn everybody that it had been over a month so that they could prepare nice long reports for everybody. But I decided, let's see who did their homework. So we're going to start with Director McMahon and then work our way down that side of the table.
Thank you. It has indeed been a long time. So I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I've been up to lately. I was glad to be invited to a meeting between MOTT and the town of Gibsons and School District 46 on the Highway 101 safety review from the corner of Reed Road to the lower road. That was interesting. It was attended by Maziar Kazimi, the district manager for the Lower Mainland, and Gabriel Lord, who is the author of a number of MOTS reports. And they talked about short, medium, and long-term priorities while admitting that there isn't a lot of funding out there right now, so anything that isn't short-term, we could be waiting for a while. I did get a chance to talk about a couple of pedestrian safety issues, so that felt good. February 28th, the campaign school, excellent turnout, wonderful turnout from every electoral area, municipality, the school board, and Islands Trust. Like, that was a full slate of candidates from high school age on up. March the 1st, I attended the AGM of the Farmers Institute, and that was, they've been gathering steam, I think you could say. That was the best attendance I've seen at any of their AGMs to date, and they have a lot of stuff going and some great initiatives. And a big thank you to Salish Soils, who has donated free compost, thank you, to a number of the commercial farms. Most of us, or many of us, were at the March 3rd APC OCP session, which was really well attended by all the APCs and good discussion. Shoot, just a minute. March the 7th, it's an annual spring celebration in Elphinstone, is that we climb into wet ditches and pick up garbage. It's so much fun. We picked up, I think it was 700, 800 pounds of garbage, and put it where it should have been put in the first place, not in our ditches. Big thank you to all the volunteers who stepped up for that. Once again, 4 out of 5 of us attended the Electoral Area Directors Forum in Richmond, which I have, is part education and part group therapy. I found it pretty interesting. And I participated in a panel on the role of electoral area directors in communications and media with Patty McElhonick from Fraser Valley, Tricia Thorpe from Thompson-Nicola, and Jay Simpson from Columbia Shuswap. And there were a number of really interesting discussions, particularly around what happens in emergencies, because a number of these people have had pretty dire emergencies happen in their electoral areas. Also, a really interesting presentation on service area reviews, which I want to follow up on. And a number of our compatriots from Cathet were there too, so that was fun. Local Government Leadership Academy, the theme was finishing strong, which I found very thoughtful. There were some great, thoughtful panels. And a really good curriculum preview session where there was a live time where we could give feedback to board members of LGLA about what we think should be in the 2027 conference. I also enjoyed the Pechakucha from 4 directors on the theme, "It seemed like a good idea at the time." I'm going to go off a little bit into AVICC because I've been sitting on that board on the executive for 4 years, and I don't often report back here. We had a strategic planning session last weekend in Nanaimo, which we all attended in person. Just FYI, AVICC actually incorporated as a nonprofit society in 2007, and the papers, which we looked at as part of our review, were signed by 49 member governments. And just for the little nostalgia, the SCRD's papers were signed by Ed Steeves. Town of Gibson's was Barry Janet. District of Sechelt was Barry Poole, deputy mayor. And for the SNGD, it was Gary Feschuk. And so that was kind of, we were having a little nostalgia run through there. We represent 11 regional districts, 42 municipalities, and the Islands Trust. And that's pretty much all the ferry-dependent communities in BC, except now Gibson's. We are the largest of the 5 area associations, and we are the only one that has a full-time employee. The role of the organization has really evolved over time. We've become considerably more independent from UBCM, especially now that we don't share their office. And now that UBCM has changed their resolution process, which we're going to see the first run out of this fall, the area associations are re-examining our processes and our roles in advocacy. So the words of the weekend were intentional and structured. And we started we're laying out a calendar for what we do every year because we're elected annually, but we're also doing a 4-year calendar that works along the term because obviously there's different priorities depending on how long people have been in office. We also talked about board portfolios, whether we should be taking, the role of the president does a lot in that association, and whether we should be diversifying some of those activities. And we talked about, it's all very nice to want to do stuff, but what's our actual capacity? And if we are going to do more, how do we build the capacity? So we also reaffirmed our long-standing commitment to legislative reform. This conference will see us trying to wrestle with the new resolution process, which is going to be interesting. And and then we'll be surveying the members as well as through the resolutions process at the conference, but we'll also be surveying members about their priorities for advocacy. So that's about it from me for now.
Thank you very much. I regret that I didn't make it to LGLA. The program hadn't been announced by the point that I needed to make a decision about going to a different conference instead. So I think it's the first one of the 3 that I've missed this term, possibly even in the 2 terms, other than the weirdness during COVID. Director D'Andrade.
Thank you, Chair. I also participated of the women's election. I think it was quite interesting to see the number of women that came forward, the diversity. But I also think one thing that stood up for me was like many didn't have the full awareness of the workload that directors and elected officials can carry, the broad nature of the job, right? And if you want to really excel in the position, if you're not aware of what's going on in your region, you're going to do a lot of work. So that was I think was a good event, and hopefully it will be like every election because it's good. It brings women as well, but also bring more awareness of the nature of the job. I will talk about on the 17th, the Town of Gibson's passed animal care and regulation bylaw. And many people don't resonate with that. I do in particular because the Gibsons had a bylaw in the past was just about dogs. But I have been aware of impacts that cats, for example, have in the environment. And so I have been trying to pass a bylaw that includes cats for a long time, since my first term as an elected official. And even though many people don't have awareness, why is that, and even laugh, but cats can be, not only can they predate with wildlife, but they can have a very detrimental impact in the environment as a whole because they transmit a parasite that many people now have. And research, it's starting to understand that there's linked with mental illness, with schizophrenia, because the parasite gets into people's body, and as people age, the parasites start acting. So, and then also there's a toll on cats themselves, right? They get hit by cars, eaten by other wildlife. So I'm pleased to see this bylaw coming forward. It's not only about dogs or cats, it's any animal, so there will be more control. But I think before even control, because sometimes control takes time, but it's the educational aspect that the bylaw can bring, right? Awareness, because I think many people, I think now I know many people because I have been in with conversations and panels that discuss that, that they think that cats are wild animals and they should be in wilderness. And even though they are domestic, they act as wild animals for sure, but they have an effect in environment because they are not from here. And even our local cats don't have the same negative effect that a domestic cat would have. Plus, one cat in 17 months can become 32, and they can become feral cats. So anyways, the SPCA supported this bylaw. They have been actually lobbying for municipalities to create bylaws. So it was well received and council passed. But, oh, and one more thing, there's a lot of studies coming forward that the contamination that marine mammals are having. Belugas in St. Lawrence, they found dead belugas contaminated with the parasite. Monk seals from Hawaii, and many other marine mammals, but also terrestrial mammals. So there's a whole thing going on, and cats are the big spreaders of this parasite. But yeah, that's why I was really excited. I know it's something that doesn't excite everybody, but hopefully it would protect cats as well and wildlife and humans. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Inkster.
I wish my money multiplied like cats. Nevertheless, we had two items in front of us yesterday at Sechelt Council. The regional district presented upon the director's request on the landfill changes and expansion of landfill vertically. It was a good presentation, good information, and the questions were good from our council, and the support in the form of a letter and otherwise was there. And I think the support was clear and concise, other than one member of our council, because the report from the SCRD staff in written and verbal form was very good. So kudos to the staff that came to present to us, and they got the support, and look forward to that project going forward. And I hope in the end it's cheaper than the predictions. The other piece I wanted to mention was the council decided to, we'll see how it comes through in report form and to see what how it happens, but we're going to do a 40th sort of birthday party for Sechelt, and I think it's 7 years for the village. This over the next number of months, so we're just looking for ideas how we would do that, because the idea came late and outside of our budget process. So just wanted to let everyone know that we'll be doing something with our community. I hope I have some ideas. One of them, I want to celebrate our community and a number of the people in it that volunteer and that are part of our volunteer community, but also part of our community association. That's my wish. And other than what we do, I'd love to. I always want to just serve hamburgers and hot dogs at an event for our community, and maybe that will be part of the plan. And of course, we'll do other things, but I always like feeding the community to celebrate the community. So we'll see how that happens, but it should be, most likely will be late June, early July, based on, I think, the June 30th incorporation of the District of Sechelt date in 1986. So stay tuned. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Lee.
Thank you, Chair. February 21st, I attended the Firefighters Appreciation Dinner. It was a great event, good food. There was one fella, Monty Ralston, we call him the guest of honor, 50 years volunteering with the Pender Harbor Fire Department. It was awesome. There was also 4 new members that got their first year pin too, which actually bodes well for the fire department when you have that. So it was a lot of fun. March 5th, we had that Mott Rural Directors meeting. I asked questions about why we can't sign, I call it on-the-road parking in the Ministry of Transports right away. They told me it's because the RCMP can't issue a ticket to the vehicle. They got to issue a ticket direct to the owner. And therefore, you effectively can't enforce the parking, so they don't sign it because they can't enforce it. But they suggested the solution was legislation changes, I think, to the Motor Vehicle Act. So I haven't give up yet. I'm going to do some research, see what it takes, because I really do think we should be signing some parking in some of our village centers. Went to the to the EA and LGLA, March 10th to 13th, and it was very entertaining. I enjoyed both events. I have to mention, though, after the storm, it's leadership during a crisis, and John Jack talked about the wildfire that cut off Tofino and Ucluelet and how the communications worked and how they got together over the water because they couldn't get together over the road to look after each other. It was very interesting. And then there was another one, governing effectively in year 4, so it looks like we're going to do okay, according to them. And I really liked the one. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Donna mentioned that, but it was actually very entertaining. Talked about the best laid plans going terribly wrong. It was very good. Anyways, that's what I've been up to for the last month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go to Director Stanford and work my way in. So, Director Stanford.
Thank you, Chair. Some of this is a repeat. I also attended and participated in the Women in Politics campaign school. Fascinating that I'm now officially an elder. I don't know how to take that on. And also, I mean, apart from, I think, interested people being profoundly aware of how complicated this job is and how it's growing in complication. It's also, I think, the pay grade kind of threw people too. But it was really an opportunity to say this isn't about money. I don't think anybody's here for the money. And it was, that changed the conversation a lot too. So it was a very valuable conversation for everybody. The APC, OCP engagement, loved it. It's the ability for, I think we were here 4 hours, to just really dive into some of these questions, and kudos to the staff for coming up with some questions that were very thought-provoking, and the opportunity to talk to APC members from across the region was very valuable. I attended, I think it was March 3rd, I think, Med Talks, emergency planning at the Ravens Cry. That was hosted by the Seashell Hospital Foundation, and many of our staff were panel members. And Nancy Hughes, our former emergency planning coordinator, was there to mediate. Again, the level of professionalism that our staff represent on these panels, the questions they got, very deep questions and complicated, they had answers for all of it, and not only answers, but redundancy answers too. We are prepared, and it's much the discussion's got to be as to how to get that message out, as to how well prepared we are. There's always going to be adjustments with any kind of emergency. That's what they are. But we've got a great group of people, and a lot of planning has gone into this. So. That was very valuable. I did not get to go to LGLA. I went to the Islands Trust Council. We had our council meeting at the Quatsim Heritage Center in Duncan. The Islands Trust is has an introduction by whomever is one of the First Nations or that are in that area. And we had an introduction by the Cowichan tribes elders. One of the things that came out of that introduction was the high level of anger and racism that they are facing as a community right now because of the Cowichan decision. And just a reminder that how this impacts them. It's being devastating for the individuals. So we tried to reaffirm our commitment to reconciliation with a declaration from the Islands Trust. And just a reminder to everybody that the type of impact that the conversations that are going on, it's hitting people. And so it was quite a difficult conversation to have with these individuals. But the Quatsum Heritage Center, amazing. And I hope if you're ever in Duncan, you get a chance to see it. It's a beautiful complex. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Director Stanford. Director Bax.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of the same things that some of the other directors have been through the APC workshop, where we had all our APC members and staff and all the rural directors were here, and it was a very useful evening. It was good. And the LGLA and the electoral areas committee, the conference that we went to in Richmond was also it was a great experience. It was really good. It was, as Donna said, it's one of the best that we've been to. Absolutely. And I discovered the new grocery store behind the hotel. It's amazing. So in my area, I've seen some really great positive action for the constituents of Roberts Creek. There was a bit of a sinkhole at the end of our pier that's been repaired. And the work in Cliff Gilker Park has begun. I've been out there myself to see where they started milling these logs. I've got some pictures of the bridge that's collapsed. It's absolutely broken in two. And so that's really great to see. I was the liaison for the chamber meeting. I zoomed in with them and answered some questions about the OCP renewal process that they wanted some clarity on. So that was an interesting day. And now what's happening in my area coming up is this weekend, there's a spring fair that the Community Association is putting on. Earth Day's coming on the 19th. I invite everyone to come down to the pier, to the Mandela for Earth Day on the 19th. It's one of our great community events. There's music and vendors and it's all carbon neutral, zero waste. It's a wonderful event. And our OCPC, they had an event in February. There was a full day workshop, or not a full day, but a full hall of almost 200 community members that did a workshop on the different aspects of the OCP renewal process that's going on. And they're compiling a report that they're going to present to us as a board to have a look at. And they also got an online survey that they're doing at rcsurvey.ca. If you're interested in seeing what they've done, you can go to that site, and there's 16 or 18 different aspects of the OCP that you can reorganize as you wish to see which aspect of that part of the OCP do you think you should prioritize. So there's housing, and there's all kinds of great things. And if you can't get online, the OCPC will be at the Roberts Creek Cafe this Saturday between 2 and 4 to help you with the survey in person. And that's about it.
Thank you very much. Director Paul.
Thank you. Being part of election, don't really have anything to report, so this is quick. Hopefully next time it'll be longer. Thanks.
Well, welcome back. You got reelected, so welcome back, and always glad to have you here. So, Director Gabius.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Starting with yesterday, Seashell Public Library had their AGM. Happy to report that we have a new trustee on board, which is great. And happy to see that the library is also focusing on onboarding, like trying to get a process going for onboarding and orientation, which is really great. And they've also produced a draft of the annual report, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll get the final documents soon, and we can distribute those to the directors who are interested. And I did go to the EA Forum and LGLA, and I thought it was super well done this year. It's sometimes on and off, but this, especially LGLA, was really incredible. Some great panels, and there's one quote that really that I wrote down. And it was from a dungeon master or Dungeons and Dragons master, whatever you call those, said that power should make you feel tired and sad. And I think that was you could feel that in the audience with the local electeds. It's work. It's like complex work, and we're all struggling. But it's good to get together and network and share stories. It was all about storytelling as well, which was really interesting. But yeah, kudos to the LGLA and EA Forum organizers. That was really well done. And OCP is the talk of the town in Half Moon Bay. This is the last push for engagement questionnaire up until March 31st. So we need to encourage everybody to participate in the engagement. And yeah, I really appreciated the workshop that staff put together with the APCs. The questions were great. Very thought-provoking, as Director Stanford was saying. And then I'm lucky that in my community, there was a group, the Community Development Forum, got a bunch of facilitators together and held a workshop to get people to get familiar with the OCP process and also get familiar with the questions that are in the questionnaire, to kind of have a discussion ahead of time so that people were prepared to answer the questionnaire thoughtfully. So that was really successful. That was great. And I just got the report, and the report was sent to staff as well. A lot of time and effort went into it. So really grateful for my community for putting this together. That's going to be a good, valuable, some valuable feedback there. And the new hall at Connor Park is coming along great. It looks really good. There's some pictures online of the interior, and if you look outside, it looks great as well. So excited for that project to get to completion soon. And then Sunshine Coast Climate Fair is happening April 17th and 18th at the Gibson's Public Market. I feel like I miss it every year, so I'm gonna make a point of pointing it out. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Director Gabius. I always let you guys go first because by the time it comes around to me, I don't have a lot left to report on. So it's excellent. I've been making notes along the way because between meeting times today, I didn't get a chance to prepare my report. I guess what I really want to touch on in the district of Seashelt, we're undertaking some prep work for elections coming up in the fall. We had to amend one of our bylaws for elections. We're also looking at updating our procedure bylaw, our council procedure bylaw, to incorporate a few best practices changes that came out of our most recent audit, if you will, with our provincial advisor. So, part of all of this is resulting in us, we're canceling a couple of meetings in the fall because they line up with advanced voting days. And we've got another one that we're having to reschedule because it, again, lines up with advanced voting. So that's all very fluid and still being worked on. Canada Day planning in Seashelt is underway. Somehow I got voluntold back into helping with the parade. I think this is the 11th, no, something like that. I've been doing this for, 10 or 11 years now. And we're still working on a theme, but, with the 40th anniversary for the District of Seashelt, the 30th anniversary of the Car Club, I think it's 40th anniversary for the Seashelt Nation as well, if they choose to celebrate it with us, sort of looking at like a celebrating everything Seashelt as sort of a theme for the parade. Because we really do have a lot to be grateful for in this community, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it. So I think we need to take more time to celebrate the things that are good. Attended a presentation with Ecom. I mentioned it this morning. I still haven't had a chance to circulate it to the directors, but they will be moving forward with some new engagement with regional districts starting in July, looking at Next Gen 911 and what that's going to do in terms of service purveyance. They're looking at whether they should be changing their service standards to meet sort of a more national standard than what they're doing now. There's a lot on the go with Ecom. And they admit that they've been doing an absolutely terrible job of keeping regional districts informed of everything that's going on. So they're committing to try and do better going forward. And I think the only other thing I want to touch on, it's not anything I've ever spoken about here directly, but since UBCM, every month I've been participating in a monthly Zoom call with electeds from all over the province that's dedicated to mental health for elected officials. And it's something that everybody is kind of cautious to talk about because they don't know how it's going to land in community. But in these calls where we all get together, there's usually a little bit of business to talk about, and then there's, personal sharing time. And I think the mailing list is over 70 people now. And so that's every corner of this province is represented on those calls. And one of the things that they are looking at, sort of in conjunction with UBCM or LGLA, is bringing forward a training program for elected leaders in order to help sort of fortitude and provide the tools they need for mental health, starting at the start of the term, rather than waiting until somebody in elected office might be in a crisis to try and respond, trying to arm people ahead of time. And so that's something that's been slowly moving in the background. They're trying to find a little bit of funding to get the program going, and they're looking for a home to land it with. So they're hoping to pass it through UBCM. But it's a great opportunity. Any electeds that are hearing about it for the first time are welcome to join the call. So and I think I'm going to leave it there for today. And we've got no new business, but we do have an in-camera session. So I'm looking for a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 90, 1G, K, and 2B, triple I of the community charter. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? That's carried. And just before we recess to go in camera, are there any questions from the gallery? All right, Connie, we're going to let you unmute.
Thank you, Chair Toth.
Hello, Connie, go ahead.
Okay, through you, Chair Toth, I'd like to ask for just a little bit of clarification for an item that's on page 10 of the agenda. The budget proposal number 10, in-house Pender Harbor Transfer Station site operations. Looking at the amount of $1.4 million, I'd just like a little bit more detail on what that's going to be spent on.
Sorry, Connie, what page did you say that was on?
It's in the board minutes of February 26th from the in-camera session. It was released in the PDF. I believe it's page 10.
Oh, sorry, just bear with me one moment, Connie, while I find it. Okay, it's at the top of page 13 of the PDF file.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I don't know if staff want to speak to this. Yeah, CAO or GM Rosenboom?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. A large part of this project is the purchase of a diesel truck. So that is a big expense that is being undertaken this year, and that will, so that's why the future funding in upcoming years will be a lot lower, because at that time that's not required anymore. The purchase, then it's just the debt payment will be ongoing for another 5 years, but the big expenditure this year is the purchase of the diesel truck. Thank you. In addition, the diesel truck is to arrange for the hauling of the materials from Pender to the Seashield landfill.
Did that help, Connie?
That does. 1.4 million just seemed like a lot for one truck, but if there's other things associated with it, that helps me explain it.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to that project, so. Okay, anything else?
Nothing from me. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you very much. Have a good afternoon, Connie. So we're gonna take just a couple minutes to reset the room and go in camera. And welcome back to the regular board meeting for the Sunshine Coast Regional District for March 26th. We have concluded our in-camera agenda, so I would look for a motion to adjourn the open meeting, please. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you, that's carried. We'll see you at the next one.